Speaking of Donald Trump, I was stunned and amazed by his new White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that job.
Democrats and the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Caroline Leavitt.
Oh, you better believe daytime TV just got a whole lot spicier. This isn't just your typical roundtable drama. Nope, this is something way juicier. Buckle up because The View is in some serious hot water. And the reason? A bold, unapologetic conservative shaking up the White House like never before. That's right. Caroline Leavitt, the youngest press secretary in history, is making waves not just in politics but across the entire media landscape. And let's just say, the hosts of The View were not ready for this showdown. Now, picture this. At just 27 years old, Caroline Leavitt stepped into the White House briefing room for the very first time, and she owned it. No scripts, no binders, just confidence, poise, and a take-no-prisoners attitude. But instead of celebrating this historic moment, the ladies of The View decided to take things to a whole new level of pettiness. And trust me, they went low, really low. Was it jealousy? Was it fear? Either way, this clash is something you don't want to miss.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
During a fiery segment on The View, Joy Behar just couldn't help herself. And now her comment has gone viral for all the wrong reasons. Behar took a shocking jab at Caroline Leavitt, suggesting that she only landed her historic role as White House press secretary because, in Donald Trump's words, she's a 10. Yep, you read that right. Behar reduced this young woman's entire career and qualifications down to nothing more than her appearance. But just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Whoopi Goldberg jumped in with her own jaw-dropping take. According to Whoopi, Leavitt wouldn't even have her position if it weren't for what she called wokeness. That's right. She claimed that so-called woke culture is the only reason women like Leavitt are getting a seat at the table. And as you can probably guess, the backlash was instant. Social media erupted, with many calling out The View hosts for their blatant hypocrisy and double standards. Is this fair criticism, or just another case of mainstream media tearing down conservative women? Let us know what you think.
Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you.
Social media exploded with outrage, and let's just say Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg did not get a pass for their comments. Critics slammed The View hosts for their blatant hypocrisy, pointing out the double standard at play. Isn't The View supposed to be about empowering women, supporting them no matter their political stance? Apparently, that only applies if they agree with the host's worldview. One user wrote, "If a Republican said anything even close to that, they'd be crucified." Another called it disgusting anti-woman rhetoric, adding, "Imagine if someone said that about a liberal press secretary. The outrage would never end." And let's be clear, Caroline Leavitt didn't just stumble into this role because of her looks. She's got receipts to back up her qualifications. Before becoming White House press secretary, she served as the national press secretary for Trump's 2024 campaign, worked as communications director for Repentor Elise Stefanik, and even served under former press secretary Kayleigh McEnany. Oh, and did we mention she ran for Congress in New Hampshire and won her primary? Calling her unqualified is not just unfair, it's laughable. But hey, doing their homework doesn't seem to be The View's strong suit these days.
Caroline Leavitt, she's just 27 years old. But boy, was she giving it to the Trump haters in her first White House briefing.
But here's where things get even more explosive. Caroline Leavitt didn't just let those comments slide. Oh no, she clapped back hard, and her response left jaws on the floor. During her next press briefing, she did not hold back calling out the mainstream media, and by extension shows like The View, for their blatant bias and hypocrisy. "We will hold the media accountable for their lies and smears, not just against President Trump, but against anyone who dares to stand up for what they believe in," she declared. The room fell silent. You could practically hear the sound of microphones dropping. And if you thought that was the end of it, think again. Caroline's powerful response didn't just stay within the press briefing room, it went viral. Social media exploded with support, with one user calling her a masterclass in handling the media, while another said she's not just smart but fearless, adding that The View should be ashamed of themselves. The hashtag #CancelTheView even started trending, with thousands calling for the show to be taken off the air entirely. This isn't just a political battle. It's a full-blown media war.
Isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on looks?
But let's circle back to The View for a moment, because the fallout didn't just stop at social media outrage. Oh no, it has reportedly sent ABC executives into full-blown panic mode. Rumors are swirling that producers are scrambling, behind the scenes, desperately trying to contain this absolute disaster. Some insiders are even whispering that Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg might now be seen as liabilities for the network. And honestly, can you blame them? This isn't the first time The View has been caught in controversy, but this time it feels different. The sheer scale of the backlash is undeniable, and it's not just critics who are calling them out. Even their most loyal fans are questioning the show's direction and whether it has any credibility left. Could this finally be the scandal that shakes The View to its core? Stay tuned, because this drama is far from over.
No, it's not. So first of all, and I have had my objections to the job that Karine Jean-Pierre did, but she worked in politics for 21 years, 5 presidential campaigns, and worked in 2 administrations.
And let's not forget, it's not just fans or critics making noise. There are whispers that advertisers are paying very close attention to how this all unfolds. Major sponsors have reportedly started pulling back, or, at the very least, re-evaluating their partnerships with the show. One insider claimed that several big brands are growing uneasy about being linked to what's now being described as a toxic environment. Given the growing trend of consumers holding companies accountable for their affiliations, these sponsors don't want the headache. When the money starts to walk, networks start to listen, the source added, and that's when real changes happen. Adding even more fuel to the fire, former employees of The View are now speaking out, anonymously, of course. Some claim that this isn't the first time the hosts have crossed the line, alleging a pattern of unchecked behavior for years. One former staffer reportedly said, "What you see on TV is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, there's a lot more that never makes it to the surface." While these claims remain unverified, they're only adding to the growing storm surrounding the show. Could this be the beginning of the end for The View? Stay tuned.
Caroline Leavitt is the press secretary at the White House, doing a great job. Such a great job that the ladies of The View feel the green monster coming upon them.
It's also worth taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, because this isn't just about one controversy. Daytime television as a whole is facing a major shift. The View has been a staple for years, but as its scandals pile up, it's raising a serious question. Do talk shows like this even have a future? With more viewers turning to independent content creators, podcasts, and alternative media for their news and opinions, traditional talk shows are at risk of becoming relics of the past. And if ABC doesn't adapt fast, they could be staring down something far worse than a bad PR moment. They could be looking at the end of an era. The frustration is palpable. One furious fan wrote, "They need to cancel the show. They are so disgusting and immature. How they can make a career out of this and live with themselves is beyond me." Another chimed in with, sue them all, cancel that nasty show." You can feel the anger in these reactions, and it's becoming increasingly clear. The View may have finally crossed a line that it can't come back from.
They really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role.
And while we're on the topic of lawsuits, let's talk about the legal bombshell that could be about to rock The View to its core. According to multiple sources, Caroline Leavitt is seriously considering legal action against the show for its controversial comments. If true, this could be a massive game changer. ABC is already reeling from past defamation lawsuits that have cost them tens of millions. And now another high-profile case could be the final nail in the coffin for the show. Imagine the irony, a program that claims to uplift women's voices potentially being taken down by the very young woman they tried to dismiss. You couldn't write a better script. As for Caroline, she's thriving. Her first week as press secretary has been nothing short of groundbreaking. She's already shaking up the White House press corps, opening seats to independent media, and restoring access to hundreds of journalists who had been previously shut out. Many are calling it a huge win for transparency and accountability. But of course The View had something to say. Sunny Hostin slammed the move, claiming it would let unqualified individuals spread disinformation. But let's be real, when has The View ever been a beacon of journalistic integrity?
But even factoring in that she's a nice-looking lady, I love that the Libs' attacks on conservatives right now are that we're hot and cool.
And here's the thing. This isn't just about Caroline Leavitt or The View. This is about a massive cultural shift that's shaking up the media world. It's about challenging the status quo and breaking free from the old guard of media gatekeepers. Caroline's approach to the press is a direct challenge to the institutions that have long controlled the narrative. And whether you love her or hate her, one thing is undeniable. She's making an impact. So what's next for The View? Will they issue an apology? Doubtful. Will ABC finally pull the plug on a show that's becoming increasingly out of touch with its audience? Only time will tell, but one thing is crystal clear. Caroline Leavitt isn't going anywhere. In fact, this controversy has only solidified her status as a rising star in politics and media. Meanwhile, The View, they might want to rethink their strategy because this time they've picked a fight they can't win. Now, we want to hear from you. Should The View be cancelled for their comments, or do you think they'll somehow manage to bounce back from this mess? And what about Caroline Leavitt? Love her or hate her, do you think she's changing the game in the White House press room? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to stay tuned for more updates, because something tells us this story is far from over. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and as always, keep the conversation going.